In our previous lesson, we discussed animations and how you could potentially use animations as transitions. So what better way to then progress onto actual transitions that are available within CapCut? And hopefully this will turn into a really good lesson on how transitions can make or break your content creation. So the very first thing you want to do is head over to the left media panel and click on transitions. This will now give you a library of readily available transitions. On the left hand side, you have trending, transitions, overlay, movement, blur, etc. You can go ahead and use any one of these. All you need to do is click on the download button. And of course, as you can see, if you hover over the transition, you can see what that transition will do on your timeline or on your clips. So if I just take my playhead and scrub it back to a particular point where I've got two clips together, we can use these two clips where I have young Leonidas walking through the snow, which then goes into him peering over his shoulder and spotting a wolf. I want to add a transition between these two clips. So the very first thing I'm going to do, just to make this a bit more clearer, is hide the human anatomy layer, and I'm going to do this by clicking the hide track icon on that particular track. So there we go. Now we can clearly see these two clips next to one another. So what you want to do is click on the clip that you want to add the transition to, and in this case what I'm actually going to do is add a transition that I believe is not subtle and doesn't add value to my content creation. So I've got shake 3 here, and as you can see, it basically flips or shakes the screen towards the right in a 90-degree angle. And to add it on, all I need to do is go ahead and click on this plus sign, which will add the transition to the track. So I'll go ahead and click plus, and if you look over in the timeline, we now have this CapCut sign and opacity box over the two clips. I can go ahead and change the duration of this clip. So bring your attention to the right panel or the adjustment panel, which now says transition, and you can adjust the duration by pulling on this slider, or in the timeline you can actually drag and move the transition over. Let's go ahead and play this particular transition.
Absolute nothing. You start from zero.
So while some people may think this is a great transition, look at how it moves in a 90-degree angle and it shakes. That is not categorized as a great transition. The reason why is because the clip itself is not something that you want to bring a large amount of attention to, as it's not the focal point of this content creation, and it doesn't necessarily help with the narration or the story behind the clips. I'm going to go ahead and delete this transition simply by clicking on the transition and hitting delete. Now let's have a deeper look into the two clips. We've got Leonidas walking, which then transitions to this deep stare from Leonidas, almost fearless stare. What would actually work is if this clip almost zoomed or pulled in to the point of where Leonidas is looking. So I actually think there's a perfect transition in CapCut for this. So again, I'm going to click on the clip, and there is this particular transition in the trending section, which is called pull in. As you can see, it almost pulls the camera in, and I think this will work quite well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the add to track icon, and you can see I've now got this on my timeline. Let's go ahead and have a quick scrub through this. That works pretty well, although I do feel that the pull happens a bit too early, and also when Leonidas looks over, I may want this to happen slightly earlier. So to do this, I'm going to delete the transition. I'm going to go ahead and reposition this clip to the point where Leonidas just begins to look over. I'll reposition this clip, add back in the pull in transition. Let's have a quick look at that again. Right, that looks a lot better. I might actually go ahead and reduce the duration of the transition. Extremely subtle, but I think it works in a very effective manner. So let's go ahead and show the human anatomy track, and let's play this.
Like a video game. You start from absolute nothing. You start from zero. You have no
perfect. Now what I'd probably do there is go ahead and find some type of subtle sound that would match that zoom or pull in. But that's the lessons on transitions, so go ahead and have a play. Remember, your transitions are located in the media player on the top bar. You can find the panel for transitions.